Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to all the devotees who assembled for this morning Bhagavatam class. We are discussing from the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. A couple of days back we began the story of Sagara Maharaj, how Sagara Maharaj tried to conduct an Ashwamedha sacrifice. But somehow Indra came and he had stolen the horse, sacrificial horse, and he left it near the hermitage of Kapila Muni. Then Sagara Maharaj has 60,000 sons, dug up the earth, found the horse near Kapila Muni's ashram, but somehow thought that he was the thief. And they were shouting, kill him, and they tried to even attack him. And because of their own offense to a great personality, somehow fire emanated from their own bodies that burned them to ashes. Now Sagara Maharaj had another son. One more thing, Sukadeva Goswami gives a clarification. Yesterday His Holiness Devamrit Maharaj read that shloka for all of us and explained so brilliantly. Sukadeva Goswami gives a clarification that Sagara Maharaj's sons were never burnt by Kapila Dev. They were burnt because of their own offensive attitude towards a great personality, not that Kapila Dev has burned them. So that is a perception of common people. So now Sagara Maharaj had to continue the sacrifice. Someone has to retrieve the horse. Those 60,000 sons who went to search for the horse, they became ashes. Now Sagara Maharaj had another son through another wife. His name is Asamanjasa. Somehow Asamanjasa, although he was the son of Sagara Maharaj, he had some bad habits of troubling kids. Even as a small child, he would play with other children and he would harm them. When the children were just bathing in the river, he would just throw them into the depths of water, and he would do all kinds of mischievous and naughty and cruel activities. Then Sagara Maharaj became very, very frustrated with him and he banished him, exiled him, as we read today. Sometimes fathers have to deal with naughty kids, mischievous kids. Children are naughty, mischievous, that's fine. Sometimes the mischief is very sweet. But when it crosses limits, crosses boundaries, when it brings bad name to the parents become extra cautious. They become very alarmed and disheartened. One such example from Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto is Anga Maharaj. Anga Maharaj had a very bad son. His name is Vena. Anga Maharaj is a nice devotee. But somehow his wife was Sunitha and she was the daughter of Mrityu, the Lord of Death. And Vena acquired the qualities of his grandfather and he also became cruel. He would also kill his children when he was playing with them. So Anga Maharaj tried so much to reform his son, but he could not. So instead of banishing the son, he himself left, retired from the kingdom and he went into the forest. So Anga Maharaj retired from the kingdom and here is Sagara Maharaj banished his son, Asamanjasa. But there is a difference between Asamanjasa and Vena. Vena was cruel by nature and he acquired the qualities of his grandfather. But grandfather was not an ordinary person. He was Yamaraj himself. But he had to be cruel as a part of his service to punish sinful living entities, right? It's not that he was by nature cruel, Yamaraj. He was a nice devotee. He was a pure devotee. But he was playing the role of a strict, punisher of sinful personalities. But somehow his daughter Sunitha saw this Lord of Death doing all kinds of cruel activities of punishing common people, and she started punishing one Gandharva. And he cursed him. May you become the mother of a cruel person. Curse her. Anyways, that's a long story. But here, Vena became very cruel. By nature, he was cruel. But Asamanjasa was not by nature cruel. He was a mystic yogi. Unfortunately, because of some undesirable association, this Asamanjasa had to take one more birth. He could not perfect his life. He could not attain liberation. So he took birth as the son of Sagara Maharaj. Now he was deliberately behaving like this. He was deliberately troubling other children while he was playing. He was deliberately causing trouble to common people and even parents of the children. Therefore, Sagara Maharaj had to exile him. Then, now that he got released from this kingdom and family ties and bonding, etc., Asamanjasa revealed his real colors, which were very good. So earlier he exhibited himself as a very cruel personality, but later he manifested his divine or good nature. He revived all the boys that he had killed, and he gave so much of joy to the parents and the king, but he himself left the place. So Prabhupada writes in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes a small purport here. He says, Asamanjasa was a jatismara. Jatismara means one who remembers his past life memories, right? So, generally speaking, people cannot remember their past lives by Krishna's grace. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 15th shloka, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritirjnanam apohanam cha Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. So Krishna sits in the hearts of all living entities, hridi sannivishto, as Paramatma, and he gives smriti, remembrance, jnanam, knowledge, apohanam, forgetfulness. And a part of that forgetfulness is forgetfulness of one's previous identities in the past lives. If somebody was a king in the past life and now he becomes a beggar in this life, if this beggar wants to go and sit on the throne, then people will not allow him. It will be frustrating. He will have identity crisis. Therefore, Krishna mercifully removes the remembrance of our past life identities, although he retains the remembrance of our past life desires or proclivities. So the mind is a storehouse of all the desires and inclinations that we have been accumulating since several lifetimes, and in fact because of the unfulfilled desires only we take one more birth. The desires will continue. The memories of those impressions will continue. The swabhava will continue. The karma will continue. But remembrance of one specific identity in the past life is gone. Krishna removes that. But there are some special cases, very exceptional cases, where people remember their past lives also. One case is this, Asamanjasa. Asamanjasa remembered what was he in his past life. And he understood that because of bad association, I could not perfect my life. Now this time I should not become a victim of that. So let me create some trouble, let me behave a little strangely so that people lose interest in me. I will not get into any material bonding so that I can just focus on my, I will retire from this kingdom. Although he was a prince, he could have sat on the throne. And his 60,000 stepbrothers died. So he had a great opportunity to sit on the throne of Sagara Maharaj, after Sagara Maharaj. No competition. Earlier the competition was 60,000 people, right? Qualified to sit on the throne. But now all 60,000 people were turned to ashes. He could have happily sat on the throne and ruled, but he did not do so. He wanted to retire. So later Sagara Maharaj depends on his grandson, what is his name? Anshuman. And then he does the needful. He goes and meets Kapila. He retrieves the horse from Kapila Dev's ashram, and Sagara Maharaj, because of this Anshuman's divine efforts, he could happily conduct this unfulfilled or incomplete sacrifice, horse sacrifice. But coming to Asamanjasa's case, sometimes when somebody prioritizes one's spiritual life, one has to deliberately withdraw oneself from material engagements. Right? Although they can do well on the material front, but still somehow their drive, inner drive to advance in spiritual life, to become devotees of the Lord, to render service to the Lord, that deliberately makes them withdraw from material life, external affairs. Although they don't seem very harmful. Like Four Kumaras. As soon as Four Kumaras were born from Brahma's mind, they are called Brahma Manasa Putras. Brahma instructed them, you get married, you produce children, increase the population of this universe. Immediately they said, no, we want to become Vasudeva Parayana, we cannot follow your instruction. Sorry, my dear father. Forget marrying and producing children, etc., etc. We will not even grow beyond age 5. Right? 5-year-old kids. They don't even wear clothes also. They are so detached, they don't even wear clothes also, 5-year-old boys. Forever. Although they are the first created beings in this universe, they always remain 5-year-old kids. Right? But they are very wise kids, by the way. Generally, if you say anything against the kids, they cry. But these kids don't cry, they curse. Once they wanted to go to Vaikuntha, they entered 6 gates. When they came to the 7th gate, Jay and Vijay stopped them. No, you cannot enter. Then they became very angry. They cursed Jai Vijaya. Oh, you are not allowing us to Vaikuntha. We curse you to go away from Vaikuntha. May you fall down to the material world. May you become demons. Of course, they remained in Vaikuntha only, Jaya and Vijaya. Even after the curse, Jaya and Vijaya continued their service as doorkeepers. Only their amshas came in this material world as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, later Ravana Kumbhakarna, later Shishupal Dantavakra, and participated in Krishna's pastimes. As Maharaj was explaining yesterday, as an answer to one question. So, actually, Jaya and Vijaya, when they stopped, apparently it's an offense, but it's a part of Lord's plan. From another perspective also, if a security guard is there in front of the temple, and if some boys were coming, 5-year-old boys without clothes, will they allow? It's a serious place, it's a temple place, you should tell your parents to put on some clothes and then you can come. Generally, when 5-year-old kids are coming inside the temple without any clothes, the doorkeepers have to stop them. That's what they did, Jay and Vijaya. But they were cursed. That's fine. Now, the main theme here is these 4 Kumaras wanted to remain as renunciants. They don't want to enter family life. Therefore, he purposely, deliberately, very honestly, brutally honest, they revealed to Brahma that we will not enter. Right? But Asamanjasa did not do that. Asamanjasa behaved in a very strange manner, actually very cruel manner. And that made this father, Sagara Maharaj, become detached from his son. Fatherly affection. Generally, father has so much affection for the child, especially kings used to have more attachment for their sons who have the ability to rule the kingdom after their retirement. Right? Every king wants to give an able successor to the kingdom so that he can continue the legacy. So that way, Sagara Maharaj had a lot of affection for Asamanjasa. On top of it, his 60,000 sons died, but still Sagara Maharaj was obliged to give up this son. He told, I am banishing you, get out of this place. He had to do that, and Asamanjasa made him do that, so that there will not be any traces of undue affection between me and my father, right? Material affection, right? On spiritual plane it's great, but sometimes apparently a relation is spiritual, but internally there is a lot of material attachment. That's why Kunti Maharani said, Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman Vishwamurte Swakeshu me Sneha Pashamimam Chindi Dradham Pandushu Vrishnishu. She said, oh Krishna, please cut these deep bondings that I have, affectionate family bondings that I have towards Vrishnis and Pandavas. In the purport, Prabhupada and Vishnacharya Thakur clarify that no, she did not want to cut relationships with Pandavas and Vrishnis. She had two kinds of relations with Pandavas and Vrishnis. One is the soul relation, second is the skin relation. There is a family bonding. They are my sons, or I am their daughter. That kind of family bondings are there, but there is also spiritual bonding. Basically, her prayer is, Krishna, let me love Pandavas and Vrishnis because they are your devotees, not because they are my family members. I want to retain my spiritual relationship with them, not love them because of our material, bodily, external relationship. Right? So sometimes when we are interacting with people, the external relation could be very misleading. But we need to learn to look at people from a spiritual perspective and try to interact with them, connect with them on a spiritual plane, seeing them as potentially servants of Krishna, devotees of Krishna, and amshas of Krishna, seeing from that perspective. When we keep our interactions on a spiritual plane, then deep emotional bondings between devotees are like very enlivening to us and enhance our spiritual life. But if we keep that relationships and interactions on a material plane, then it could involve us in material emotions and we may delay advancement in spiritual life also. As His Holiness Bharata Maharaj was explaining yesterday, 5 C's, class, creed, country, etc. So, if somebody wants to interact with others and have friendship with others, come in close relation with other people, because of this external, material, temporary considerations, the relationship is on a material platform. But when it's to love people, that's a real unity. When it's to love people on a spiritual plane, that's what Prahlad Maharaj was trying to do. So Maharaj was explaining that common people differentiate others as friends and enemies, but those are advanced in spiritual life. Those are not influenced by Maya. They don't discriminate between people as friends and enemies. It is, Prahlad Maharaj says, Maharaj was quoting Prahlad Maharaj in 7th canto, 5th chapter. There is a nice conversation between Shanda and Amarka and Prahlad Maharaj. So in that 7.5.11, 12, 13, in this 3-4 shloka series, Prahlad says that it is only because of the influence of the Supreme Lord's illusory energy, Maya, that people see others as friends or enemies. But ultimately everybody is a servant of the Lord, Amsha of the Lord. So, it's easy to know this fact, but when we actually come to our interactions with other people, how much we understood this fact, how much we realize this fact, we will understand. Right? We effortlessly see some people as enemies. But Bhagavatam says that everybody is a servant of the Lord. Yes, if there is an incompatibility in a relation, you may have to maintain some safe distance, respectful distance, so that there are no sparks. But that incompatibility or difference of opinion should not disturb one's understanding that everybody is a spirit soul, ultimately trying to serve Krishna to the best of their ability, especially if they are devotees. So Asamanjasa thought that let me not get into any material emotions and let me just avoid this. So he just left. Another example from Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto is Bharata Maharaj. Very, very exalted devotee who came to Bhava stage. And Bharata Maharaj, he ruled the kingdom for thousands of years, very responsibly, and he retired at the right time. He went to Palahashrama. He was worshipping the Supreme Lord and meditating on the Lord. He was doing so many austerities on the bank of Gandaki river. One day, unfortunately, he saw a pregnant deer trying to leap across the river because the deer heard a roar of a lion. She became very fearful, and she had a miscarriage, and she died on the spot. And Bharata Maharaj found that little deer. He picked up that deer. He was compassionate. Bharata Maharaj did not have lust, did not have envy, did not have anger, did not have greed. But Bharat had compassion. Maya is so expert that she can attack a sadhaka even through the sadhaka's good qualities. She can find, oh, this sadhaka is very compassionate. Okay, fine. Let me try to attack this sadhaka through compassion. And that compassion became misplaced compassion in Bharata Maharaj's case, where he was overly affectionate, overly compassionate to the body of a deer and could not realize that I am not exhibiting this compassion on this deer on a spiritual plane. I am not trying to make the deer Krishna conscious, but I am getting distracted from my Krishna conscious practices. He could not realize that. He was a little distracted in his bhakti. Even while doing his sacrifices and rituals, time to time he would just look at the deer. What is the deer doing? Oh, the deer is so cute, so sweet. So he thinks like that. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the very fact that time to time he is taking breaks in his sadhana to see his material attachment, he is already fallen. What's going to happen is just a detail, right? So Bharata Maharaj completely lost his focus. And once the deer just wandered away into the forest, Bharata Maharaj was so delusioned that he thought that the deer left me because I have neglected. I could not take care of the deer properly. And he started owning all that guilt. Although Bharat has invested so much of energy and time and emotions in the deer was so ignorant that the deer could not understand the emotions of Bharata Maharaj, attachment of Bharata Maharaj. It's an insignificant animal, and he just left. The deer just wandered into the forest, and Bharata Maharaj was in deep feelings of separation. He's seeing the moon, and he sees the spots of the moon and imagines the spots to be deer. Oh, the deer has gone to the moon planet or what? Like that. And he went into a big contemplation, and eventually with the thoughts of the deer he just left this place. Left this body and he became a deer. As Krishna said, yam yam vapismaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Whatever thoughts or whatever mindset one has at the time of death, one will definitely attain that kind of state of existence. That's what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, and that's what happened in Bharata Maharaj's case also. Right? But again, another example of this Jati Smara, remembrance of past life. Bharat Maharaj, although King Bharat became dear Bharat, still this dear Bharat had complete understanding and memories of his past life. Why did he become a deer? So, even human beings cannot remember their past lives, but he could remember his past life. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he said that Arjuna, bahuni me vititani janmani tavacha Arjuna. You and me had so many lives. We took so many forms in this material world, but I remember all of my forms. I remember all of your forms also. I remember all the forms taken by every single living being in the entire cosmic manifestation, but you don't remember. He says, we cannot remember our past lives. By Krishna's grace, we forget our past life identities, but by Krishna's grace, some exceptional souls remember their past life identities also. And Bharata Maharaj is one more case, like Asamanjasa. So Bharata Maharaj remembered his past life, and he also understood what was the reason for his fall down as this animal. And now he thought, I should not get distracted by any deers. As a human being, I was distracted by a deer. No, as a deer, I should not be distracted by anyone around me. And he again went to Palahashrama. Again he did his sadhana. He meditated on the Lord. And in the next life, he took birth as a Brahmana in the family of Angira Rishi. But now, he is also behaving like Asamanjasa, little strangely. Asamanjasa behaved like a cruel man to be banished by his father. Similarly, Bharata Maharaj behaved like a madman, not a cruel man, a madman, and people lost all hope in him. His father was trying to teach him Achaman. Okay, my dear son, please learn this Achaman. Om Keshvaya Namaha Madhaya Namaha. So he was teaching and he was not doing it. You would teach him good culture, good values, good virtues, Brahmanical cleanliness, and principles of Brahmacharya. He doesn't follow anything. He says first evacuate and then wash. First he will wash and then evacuate. right? Reverse. And he was deliberately avoiding all this training because he wanted to deliberately avoid any material emotions. Earlier I was attached to the deer, and I became a deer. Now let me not be attached to my father. Although father is loving and caring for me. Generally, when somebody connects with us with love and affection, then we try to respond with love and affection. Yathamam prapadyanti is not only Krishna's verse, it's anybody's verse in one sense, right? However, we need to differentiate. Where is this love coming from? Is this love an expression of their spiritual emotions or material emotions? We need to differentiate that. Sometimes we get caught up in material emotions. Are they appreciating me for my spiritual life or some material attribute in me? Right? Even in spiritual circles also, when we interact with devotees, we may connect with other devotees for material reasons, not spiritual reasons. It happens. Even while chanting Hare Krishna, it happens. Right? One may be singing well, one may be speaking well, one may be coming from a geographical location, as Maharaj said yesterday. You are from South India, I am from North India. Right? So one may connect with others due to so many material considerations. Right? So are they attracted to these external qualities, designations or positions, or are they actually genuinely appreciating my bhakti and then trying to encourage that, or trying to seek some assistance or association for spiritual reasons, or just material reasons? So when somebody tries to connect with us through material emotions, we should be very careful. Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita, in the Upadeshamrita, Dadati prati grhanati guhya makhyati prachati bhunkte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham priti lakshanam. So between devotees, we can increase our relationships by dadati prati grhanati, offering gifts and accepting gifts. Guhya makhyati prachati, sharing our hearts in confidence. Bhunkte bhojayate chaiva, feeding prasadam and being fed by them. So this is all wonderful. But in the commentaries, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and even Prabhupada and many acharyas who explain these shlokas, they say that these 6 loving exchanges must be between devotees, like-minded spiritual practitioners only, those who aim for the same goal of Krishna Prema. If we have the 6 loving exchanges with materialistic people, our bhakti will be destroyed. Because whenever we have some loving exchanges with others, there is an emotional bonding created there, an emotional knot created there. When we deeply, emotionally connect with other people who are not practicing bhakti, we lose our bhakti. So we need to differentiate between material emotions and spiritual emotions, right? Yeah, of course, at sadhaka stage, emotions may not be completely spiritual at this moment, but at the same time, we need to understand at the deeper level, what is their ultimate intention? Ultimately, they want to serve Krishna. Okay, there is some connection. Connection can begin with some external, temporary, material consideration, but it can eventually turn into spiritual bonding. Okay, maybe, so there's so many devotees, like a devotee who is coming from a specific geographical location can connect with another devotee from the same locality because there's a language barrier. Okay, I can connect with them through this language better. Okay, this language I cannot understand. Fine. In that way, the relation can begin there, even amongst devotees. But it should not stop there only. Right? It should mature to Matchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantaha Parasparam. It should mature to a stage where they come together and relish Krishna Katha, relish Krishna Bhakti, relish Krishna Seva together. Parasparanu kathanam pavanam bhagavadyashaha mithoratihi mithaha tushtir nivrittir mitha atmanaha. We should come to a stage where we do paraspara anukathanam, come together and discuss Krishna's glories. Right? When that possibility is not there, better avoid that relation. You can show compassion. A Madhyamadhikari connects with people through 4 things. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Prema, love for the Lord. Maitri, friendship with devotees. Kripa, compassion to common people. Upeksha, stay away. Stay far away from envious people, materialistic people. Right? Asat Sangatyaga Yai Vaishnava Achar. Vaishnava Achar is to Just give up bad association. Of course, on the ultimate plane, we all want to connect with every single living being with love and affection. That's the aspiration. Now, for example, if you go to Parikshit Maharaj's case, what did he say? Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante ratihi prasangascha tadashrayeshu mahatsu yam yam upayami srishtim maitriyastu sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. He said, I have been cursed to die within 7 days by that sage, that boy, and let that snake Takshaka come and bite me. I have no problem. But if at all I have to take birth again, I need 3 things. Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante ratihi. I want rati, attraction towards Bhagavan, Krishna. Prasangascha tad ashrayeshu. I also want the association of those who have taken shelter of the Lord. Then mahatsu yam yam upayami srishtim maitriyastu sarvatra. Sarvatra maitri means I want friendly relations with all living entities. He said it. So ultimately, a devotee's aspiration is to have friendly and loving relationships with all living beings, not only devotees. But knowing that currently this living being is not in a proper consciousness and I am just still a practitioner, my associating with this living being will destroy my bhakti, will not help me in my progress in bhakti. Therefore, let me stay away. Asat Sangatyaga. And this Asat Sangatyaga is not again differentiating between people as friends and enemies. Devotees will never see anybody as an enemy. Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatravaha Shanta Sadhavaha Sadhu Bhushana. Bhagavatam says that devotee is Ajata Shatru. Devotee never considers anyone as enemy. But if some people are envious of this devotee, a devotee wants to keep safe distance from them so that the small bhakti lata is protected. If one is very mature, then even if they associate with them, this devotee will influence the other people, but other people will not influence this devotee. So that's great. But sometimes devotees are not that mature. They need to be mature enough to protect their tender kripa of bhakti by staying away from those who are not practicing bhakti and choosing to stay with those people who are practicing bhakti. In Bharata Maharaj's case, Bharata Maharaj, when he became Jada Bharata in his 3rd life, he saw his father was materialistic. He had loving emotions for his sons, especially Jada Bharata. He loved Jada Bharata so much. Jada Bharata has a sister also. Jada Bharata's mother, father, sister and 9 stepbrothers. Very wonderful family. If only Jada Bharata had behaved so nicely externally, not like a madman, not like a dumb or dull or deaf man, then he would have had a very wonderful family life. But he chose not to connect with them because his father was more on a karmakandic plane. He was like too much into karmakandic sacrifices, very attached to family, wealth, this and that, prestige, etc. So Bharata Maharaj carefully avoided that. We may not imitate Bharata Maharaj, right? But we are just discussing what he has done. So externally he was behaving like a madman, dumb man, dull man. But internally he was completely absorbed in Krishna. Right? People were ridiculing him, especially when you have some talents, skills. You are a scholarly person. And people are saying, you are an uneducated, illiterate fellow. Then our ego will get hurt, right? I am not an illiterate person. I know so many things. I am not lacking in any of my talents. I am very talented. You want to prove yourself. But although the whole world is saying that Jada Bharata is a dumb and dull man, Jada Bharata is never revealing his talents. Yes, I am not a dumb and dull man. I am great personality. He never revealed it. Sometimes it's a great temptation, right? We get tempted to prove ourselves. It's not necessary. You don't have to necessarily prove yourself so great in the eyes of common people. It's okay, no problem. Let them think like that. You continue your bhakti. Especially you are proving yourself a great personality or you are establishing yourself as a great personality is coming in your way to connect with Krishna, then better maintain a low profile. Let them think like that. Like some Digvijaya, some big Pandit came challenging Rupa Goswami. What did Rupa Goswami say? I don't have time to, debate with you. I cannot debate with you. So you just What do you want me to do? I want you to sign here that I am the best scholar. Of course I'll sign, come bring. He signed. He accepted defeat without even going for a debate. Debate did not happen, but defeat happened. He said, I am signing it. He signed it and sent away. So it's okay, no problem. In the eyes of Krishna, in the eyes of Vaishnavas, we should try to please them, but we don't have to please the whole world by showing off that I am great, I am great. Not necessary. Not necessary to prove oneself. So Bharata Maharaj did not have the temptation as Jada Bharata. All the people are misunderstanding him. Jada Bharata continued his activity as a madman. He avoided all kinds of material obligations in his life. But internally he was very, very absorbed in bhakti. Chittam naiva nivartate kshanamapi Sri Krishna padambujan Nindantu priya bandhava gurujana Grihnantu munchantu va Durvadam parighoshayantu manuja Vamshe kalankostu va Tadrik premadharanu raga madhuna Mattayamanam tume Chittam naiva nivartate kshanamapi. A devotee's mind is not deviated from Krishna, Krishna's thoughts on Krishna's lotus feet, even for one kshana, one moment also. Sri Krishna padambujan nindantu priya bandhava gurujana grihnantu munchantu va. Let my own relatives criticize me, nindantu priya bandhava. Gurujana, let my superiors also ridicule me or reject me, no problem. All the 9 stepbrothers of Jada Bharata rejected him. After the father died, they did not continue his education. This dull person, who will educate him? They stopped education. They are not even feeding him properly. In those days, people used to cook rice in mud pots, earthen pots, and some rice particles would get stuck to the bottom. It will become black or dark brown. They will eat nicely all the white rice and give this brown rice to him. This brown rice is not organic rice, it's burnt rice, right? They give this burnt rice to him. Okay, you eat this and survive. And work, physical work you have to do. He does that, he does all that, right? He was deliberately presenting himself as a dull, dumb, deaf personality, right? You may see, he should have preached nicely Krishna consciousness. Why is he too much attached to his detachment? He should preach. He preached to qualified people, not to anybody. You know that? These dacoits, they once kidnapped Jada Bharata. They wanted to sacrifice him in front of Mother Kali, just so that they can, the king of dacoits can get a son. Where is it mentioned? If you kill a human being, you will get a son. But that is called swavidhana, concocted practice. So they were doing that. And Jada Bharata did not protest. Why? Because these dacoits were in ignorance. Even if I open my mouth, they will not understand anything. He avoided them. So why did he not avoid? Why did he not open his mouth in front of all the stepbrothers and the people in his locality who are seeing him as a dumb man? Because they were in passion. They were in mode of passion. They cannot understand what Jada Bharata would be saying. But Jada Bharata opened his mouth in front of King Rahugana. He gave 5 chapters of elaborate philosophical teachings, bhakti teachings to Rahugana. So we need to open our mouth in front of those people who are receptive to Krishna conscious teachings, principles. Even if we start speaking big philosophy to people who are not receptive, then it doesn't make much difference. We can do Harinam Sankirtan for them, right? If at all they are fortunate enough, they will hear, they will receive some mantras and they will uplift their consciousness. So anyways, Jada Bharata, he carefully avoided any material obligations, material emotions, although he had complete remembrance of his past 2 lives as dear Bharat and as King Bharat. 3 Bharats. King Bharat, dear Bharat, and Jada Bharat. But you see, although apparently King Bharat did not get liberation, or he did not go to spiritual world in 1 lifetime only, but still, he was advancing spiritually. Dear Bharat is more spiritually advanced than King Bharat, because he had more focus and concentration on his sadhana. King Bharat could not show that. At one point he was showing, but he was distracted because of the deer. But when King Bharat became a dear Bharat, apparently from an external perspective, physical perspective, bodily plane, there is a degradation. But spiritually there is only progress. This is how the Lord punishes his devotees. Even if the Lord punishes his devotees to become animals in the next life, okay, may you enter an animal body, but still the Lord is merciful upon them. Never misunderstand Krishna. So we should not doubt the intentions or integrity of Krishna even when Krishna gives us very, very unpleasant material conditions. The king of the planet, after Bharat's name, this tract of land is called Bharata Varsha, and such a great king becomes a deer, becomes a animal in the next life. Such a humiliation. Even if somebody who studies spiritual history for all time to come, we are only analyzing, even after thousands and thousands of years or like several yugas, we are analyzing. Bharat did a mistake, you should not be inattentive. You see? So Bharat did not mind all that. It's okay, let people learn from my mistakes. Sometimes when our mistakes are exposed in front of others, we feel uncomfortable. I don't know about you, at least I feel uncomfortable. When my mistakes are spoken in front of 10 people or 100 people, I feel, ruko, relax. But it's not like that. In the case of great souls, they're very compassionate. Narada Muni, in his previous life, he was a Gandharva named Upabarhana. He went to a big Sankirtan festival organized by great Prajapatis of the universe, and he went along with so many girls and started singing cinema songs, materialistic songs. And seeing that, the Prajapati said, "You are behaving like a Shudra. We curse you to become a Shudra." Then he fell down to this earthly planet and took birth as the son of a maid servant. From where is exalted Gandharva, the most handsome Gandharva, Upabarhana, and where is this son of maid servant? His father is also not mentioned. He's just there, five-year-old child, right? But later, because of the association of Bhakti Vedantas, this 5-year-old child became Narada Muni. He became so elevated in Prema Bhakti. He got the darshan of the Lord and he intensified his sadhana, and eventually he became Narada Muni. And he remembered his past life even in the next day of Brahma, next Kalpa also. So some great souls remember their past lives also. That's the theme today. Prabhupada's purport theme is that. But here the point is, although Sukadeva Goswami was narrating the story of Upabarhana in front of Narada Muni and in front of Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, was he feeling uncomfortable? Now you are sitting in the audience and the speaker is speaking about your past mistakes. Right? So how would we feel? But Narada Muni is carefully sitting and hearing. Yahasvanubhavamakila shruti saravekam adhyatma deepamatitirshatam tamondham samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyasasunumupayami gurum muninam. This Sukadeva Goswami is sitting on Vyasasan, where Vyasadeva is sitting in front as a student, and Vyasadev's guru, Narada Muni, is also sitting there as a student in front of Sukadeva Goswami, and he is speaking the past life of Narada Muni. In the past life, Narada Muni was Upabarhana. He was singing materialistic songs. He is very attached to dressing himself with nice garlands and scents, etc., and always surrounded by women, and he did some materialistic activities in a spiritual festival. He has been cursed to become a Sudra. Narada Muni is saying, "Arey, thoda edit karu." Why are you repeating, why are you speaking about all this stuff? He is not saying like that. Narada Muni's consciousness was that if people can learn from my mistakes, let them learn. Let my mistake, which I did in the past life, be printed in thousands and thousands of copies of Srimad Bhagavatam. Let this Bhagavatam be distributed all over the world so that people don't repeat the same mistake that I have done. That is compassion. They are so compassionate souls, right? Similarly, Jada Bharata. Let people misunderstand me as a dull man or dumb man or deaf man, no problem. But I will open my mouth only if there is a Krishna conscious discussion. I will not speak unnecessarily. I will not get into any material emotions. Although they connect with me with genuine emotions, because they are material in nature, they are karmakandic in nature, I will not respond to the emotions. He was very, very careful to protect his bhakti, because he lost it. So only when the Lord gives us a severe punishment, when we are little complacent or relaxed or overly complacent in bhakti, Krishna will just shake us, right? Then we'll become a little more extra cautious. So when you're not very cautious in bad climate, you catch cold. Then later you become extra cautious. Oh, let me not eat ice cream, I'll catch cold. So like that, similarly, it's a very innocent example. But similarly, when somebody becomes little complacent in bhakti, Krishna will give them a severe reaction. For little distraction, he will give a severe reaction. He came to Bhava stage. Bharata Maharaj went to Bhava stage, but Krishna said, become an animal. Like Punarmushika Bhava. Become an animal, he said. But he did not have animal consciousness. That is mercy. Behind this strictness of Krishna, there is mercy, there is empathy, there is sympathy, there is sensitivity. After all, he's Bharata Maharaj. How can I apply this 8.6 formula and make him a deer? No, I will not do that. He's not a materialistic person. He's a pure devotee. But somehow, because of his compassion, he was distracted. Now let me give him a punishment that only intensifies his sadhana, intensifies his bhakti. Right? So, it's a collaborative effort between the Lord and the devotee. The devotee, after committing a mistake, he becomes very, very careful to not get distracted, not get deviated, not given to any material emotions or temptations or allurements of Maya. Devotee is very, very careful and cautious in bhakti. And on top of it, Krishna also supports, right? Krishna gave the remembrance of Bharata Maharaj's past mistakes so that now he becomes more intense in bhakti. If the Lord has not given him that remembrance of his past life as King Bharat, if he only had animal consciousness like any other animal would have, then Bharat would not have become Jada Bharat within one lifetime. It would have taken a lot of time for him. Right? So this is the Lord's mercy. So it's a collaborative effort. Drishtva parishramam Krishna kripayasi svabandhane. So drishtva parishramam Krishna means seeing the parishrama or effort of a devotee, the Lord will reciprocate with more mercy. He will give assistance, right, to the devotee to advance in bhakti very nicely. That's what happened in Bharata Maharaj's case. And here is Asamanjasa carefully. Asamanjasa's story is not very elaborately described, but with whatever details we have, he consciously and deliberately acted in a very cruel manner so that his father loses interest in him and so that he can retire and then pursue his whatever yogic life or spiritual life. Right? So that is Asamanjasa's story. Similarly, Bharata Maharaj's story we have seen. Narada Muni's story we have seen. So some rare souls remember their past lives, but the remembrance of these spiritually elevated souls about their past lives will only enhance their spiritual life, will not make them, I think I should go back to my past life. Bharat Maharaj was not thinking, earlier I was a king, I became a deer now, let me go back to my kingdom. Let me ask my descendants, I want to rule, I want to continue my rule. He did not feel like that. He said, why did I fall down? Because of distraction in bhakti. No, I should not be distracted, I should remember the Lord. So, the Lord, even if the Lord punishes a person, or even if the Lord removes the memories of past life for a person, or gives remembrance of past life to a person, it is all done with mercy, pure, unalloyed mercy, only to bring us closer to his lotus feet. When this boy, Narada Muni in his past life, this boy's mother died, Srila Prabhupada writes a brilliant purport, just 3-4 lines purport. He says, this boy's mother was bitten by a serpent, that maid servant was bitten by a serpent and she died. And she was the only protector of this boy. But Prabhupada writes that this is the way of dragging a sincere soul towards the lotus feet of Krishna. What is this? because that material bonding with the mother is kind of disconnected, our boy, he became very intense in his bhakti, tivra bhakti, no other obligations in life. Okay, then what about the mother? Mother definitely rendered so much service to Bhaktivedanta sages, isn't it? If a small 5-year-old child could do so much of service to Bhaktivedanta sages, how much service the mother would have done? Grown-up mother. So she definitely must have attained back to Godhead, went back to Godhead, or at least she would have continued her practice of bhakti in a next life. We should be very confident about that. Krishna will never do injustice to someone who rendered some service to Vaishnavas. She did 4 months of service to Vaishnavas just before dying. Krishna will take care of her. Her story is not further described, so it's not an injustice. Materially it seems injustice. This 5-year-old child, and he lost his mother, and this is what Krishna does to his devotees. Krishna has no justice, just like Kritadyati, Chitraketu Maharaj's wife. She said, how can you kill our son? You are behaving like an inexperienced boy. You are going against your own creative law. So many things she said. So, devotee doesn't perceive injustice. Right? So, devotee sees every opportunity to enhance one's Krishna consciousness, sees all situations as orchestrated by Krishna, has the maturity to perceive Krishna's hand in all circumstances, and utilizes whatever one has and whatever one is to serve Krishna. These are a few thoughts. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Yes, Abhay, you have a question? Sorry. Oh, he's preparing the mic for devotees to ask questions. Any? Yes, Prabhu. You can speak loudly, we can hear.
So, Jada Bharata also remembered his past life, Prabhu, or is only the dear Bharata or King Bharata?
Jada Bharata also remembered his past life. He even narrated his past 2 lives to King Rahugana. Jada Bharata remembered his past life and intensified his bhakti.
So still he behaved like a dumb and...
Because he remembered past life, he behaved like a dumb man. If he overly identified with this current life, the new identity that he has acquired, then he would have become like another karmakandik brahmana, like his father or his stepbrothers. But because he remembered his past lives, he was regretting, I could not perfect my life in my previous situations. Now is the opportunity for me. Let me not get distracted by any material emotions or materialistic affairs. Let me focus on remembrance of Krishna. Internally he was very connected. Of course, although a devotee doesn't specifically desire liberation, if the Lord wants, devotee doesn't mind taking birth once again. But what a devotee is worried about is losing one's Krishna consciousness. No problem, even if I have to take birth again, I don't mind. But I want association of devotees. I want to serve Krishna. I want to be a devotee. That's what Parikshit Maharaj said. We quoted that shloka. Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante rati prasangasya tadasharesu. Punascha bhuyat means even if I have to take birth once again, I have absolutely no problem. I will take one more birth. But in that new birth, I want to serve Krishna. I want to have love for Krishna. I want to have devotion for Krishna. And I want association of devotees. Right? Similarly, Pracheta said, Yavat te maya sprishta brahmama iha karma bhi tavat bhavat prasanganam sangasyanno bhave bhave. Yavat te maya sprishta. Prachetas are saying that, oh Lord, because of Maya, even if we have to take 10 more births again or 1,000 more births again, we have no problem. But we want just one desire. We have one desire. Tavad bhavat prasanganam sangasyanno bhave bhave. May we have association of your devotees in the new birth. I don't mind taking birth as an ant or a dog in a Vaishnava's family, but I need contact with Vaishnavas. That's the mode of a devotee.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu, one of the concepts that I learned today was when you explained that when a living entity takes rebirth, his desires are being preserved by Krishna out of his mercy. Although he doesn't have any remembrance, but still his desires are preserved, and that's how we continue. So one question or clarification or more clarity is required where, why does Krishna preserve the karmic reactions as well? Although a living entity may not remember the karma.
The Supreme Lord Krishna need not preserve karmic reactions. He is very, very enthusiastic and eager to destroy all karmic reactions. But we don't desire. He doesn't want to act against our desire. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Karmani nirdahati. Dahati means burnt. All karmic reactions will be burnt if you take to bhakti. Because the conditioned living entity is not inclined to take bhakti, he has to suffer because of karma. But if he takes to bhakti, Krishna will destroy karma. He is very eager to destroy karma. Why should he preserve our karma? We want to preserve our karma, and he is reciprocating. Ye yathamam prabhadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham. Oh, this fellow still wants to maintain his material desires. Okay, fine. Let me give one more birth to him. Let him pursue his material desires. Let him try to understand whether he can enjoy separately with me, enjoy independent of me. Then when he's frustrated, he'll come back to me. He'll take my shelter. And he's waiting for that moment. It is always the conditioned soul's desire that we undergo material existence. It's not Krishna's desire. Krishna's deep desire is that we finish off this material existence and come to his lotus feet. And even if Krishna keeps a devotee in material existence, it is only for the purpose of preaching and spreading Krishna consciousness. Bhuvi grinanti ye bhurida jana. So those who spread Krishna consciousness everywhere are very magnanimous souls. They are not conditioned souls. So Krishna keeps them here for the purpose of spreading bhakti. Yes, Prabhu.
Harekrishna Prabhuji, thank you for the nice class. I just had one question. Like before, I think you said we that Prabhuji is my friend and that Prabhuji is my enemy. So like because of the Lord's illusion. So, but if Lord wants us all back to go to Him, to Golok Vrindavan, why doesn't He just lift the illusion to make it easier?
Wow. For this you need to read a book by His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj. The book's name is Bhakti Bhava. I had the same question 15 years back. Then when I read that book, all that illusion is dispelled. In short, answer to your question is, Krishna does not want forced love. Right? Krishna wants voluntary love. When we voluntarily choose to serve Him, choose to love Him, He'll become ecstatic. But if He hypnotizes us, or He changes our mind, transforms our mind, and then make all of us pure devotees, He can do that. If He wants, He can do that. But He doesn't want that. Then we are machines. We are not human beings. We are not living beings. A machine can be manipulated by a human being to some degree to get it do whatever he wants the machine to do. But Krishna is supremely independent. As his amshas, we are minutely independent, and Krishna chooses not to interfere with our minute independence. We should utilize our minute independence properly and make a conscious choice to serve Him, to love Him. And that love is palatable to Krishna. But if you are programmed to love Him, if you are hypnotized or made to love Him forcefully, although He can do that, He will not do that. He doesn't like that kind of forced service. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Does it answer your question? Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Mike is on that side only, it should come this side also. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the class. My question is about the Shastrat of Rupa Goswami. Is it the same one where Jiva Goswami defeats a person? And if it is so, can you please share the pastime?
Yeah. When Rupa Goswami says, I will not debate with him, Jiva Goswami says, come, I will debate with you. And I am very younger to Rupa Goswami. Then he defeats him. Then Rupa Goswami says, Hare, you are trying to establish yourself so much. There is no place for pride in Vrindavan. You go out of Vrindavan. So he banished him. But after that, of course, he came back.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your class. In the Bhagavatam, we see the devotees who remember their past lives, it increases their bhakti. But what about there's cases of, lots of children who remember their past lives. So what is the purpose behind their remembrance?
No idea. Somehow they remembered their past life identities, probably because of too much of absorption in that identity. Even if they change the body, they are still having that strong memories of that identity. I don't know what is the purpose. Because of their desire or attachment or whatever. And if it's enhancing their Krishna consciousness, that's great. If it is not, then it's like another way in which Maya might bewilder the conditioned soul, or another way in which the jiva wants to be bewildered by Maya. Deep-rooted bonding. Some people, even after death also, they may become ghosts and then they still wander in that area only. So, and because of that absorption in that identity becomes intense, they may even remember their past life identities also. You know that story? Kailash story? You don't know that story. Anyway, it's a long story. Maybe you can ask, our kids know the story. You can ask them later. So he was so attached to his family. And later Narada Muni told him, I will enlighten you in bhakti. But he has been postponing years and decades, and finally he died also. So Narada Muni said, oh, he died. So then that Kailash became a dog in front of his own home. And when Narada Muni came to his home only to realize that Kailash died, this Kailash in the form of dog said, Narada Muni, you remember, I'm that same Kailash. I still have that memories of my past life. I became a dog in front of my home only because I made this home so nicely. I want to still protect this home as a dog, as a guard. Then Narada Muni said, in your human form, I told you that I will enlighten you in bhakti, but you never took it seriously. No problem. Even in dog's body you can meditate on Krishna. Come with me, I will teach you bhakti yoga. He said, no, I have to take care of my home. My sons and my grandsons, they are not taking care of my home properly. I have purchased it, I have built this home with so much of hard work. They are not locking their doors during the night time. So therefore I am guarding here from all the robbers and thieves. Then Narada Muni said, okay, fine, let me go. Because this dog asked, I want some more time. Next time when Narada Muni came to Kailash's home, dog died. Means Kailash died in the form of dog also. Then he became a snake. Right? Narada Muni said, even in snake body I can enlighten you, to cut the long story short. Kailash said, no, my children are taking care of my home nicely, but they are not taking care of the fields nicely. All the crops here, all the vegetables and grains that they are growing, they are being eaten by rats. So as a snake, I am killing those rats and eating those rats and protecting their fields. Then Narada Muni said, I must somehow enlighten him. He said, snake, 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 snake. He started shouting at the top of his voice, snake, snake, snake. Then Kailash's own descendants in his past life came and started hitting the snake. Then Kailash said, my dear Lord, I will surrender to you. Narada Muni, take me with you. He said like that. Anyways, sometimes because of intense absorption in one's identity in a life, one may still remember these identities in the next life. Possibly. I don't know more than that. Okay. Yes, Sevya.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned and gave the examples of some special souls who are able to remember their previous life, like Bharata Maharaj and Gajendra. So we see when we do a little bit bhakti, we are able to remember a shloka. And from that we have the hope that even if we're not able to come back to Godhead, we can come back and like from there...
Like Gajendra, we can remember
yeah.
the shlokas that you have learned in this life, in the next life.
So will Krishna help us to remember those things in our next life? Otherwise we'll get hopeless.
Will Krishna remind us? Will Krishna help us? That's your question.
Yeah, will Krishna remind us?
You are attending Srimad Bhagavatam class every day. What has been your observation? You are doing Bhakti Shastri also by any chance? Okay, fine. In Ishopanishad, a devotee offers a prayer to the Lord. Oh Lord, please remember all my services that I have done to you. I have done so much service during my life. You remember all these services. And please show some mercy upon me, especially at the time of death. Then Prabhupada writes in that purport, beautiful purport. he says that a devotee need not remind the Lord. Even if the devotee forgets what service he has done or she has done, Krishna remembers. Krishna will remind you, Krishna will help you. What happened to Ajamil? When Yamadutas came, Ajamil was saying, Narayana, 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 Narayana. And Vishnudutas came. What happened to Gajendra? Gajendra was absorbed in his new identity as an elephant, as the king of the forest, at whose mercy all the other forest animals are surviving. But when Gajendra was struggling with that crocodile and being pulled by the crocodile inside the water, and although Gajendra could not relieve himself with his own strength for 1000 years, and although Gajendra was not getting any help from any of his friends or family members or sons or wives, Krishna remembered him, Krishna helped him. Krishna reminded Gajendra of the prayer that he had learnt in his past life. And in response to that prayer, Krishna came and protected him. You can read Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 3rd chapter, purport number 1, 2, 3. Prabhupada emphasizes that devotee should learn some prayer. Narasimha Stuti, he says, Brahma Samhita. Even Ajahn Prabhu says Brahma Samhita every day. So Brahma Samhita, Narasimha Stuti, or some prayer, if you remember, if you memorize, then that can save you even in the next life also. Krishna will definitely help us. Even if we cannot perfect our spiritual life in this lifetime, whatever little bhakti we have done in this life will definitely rescue us. Krishna will definitely remind us. There are so many instances like that. Bharata Maharaj itself, Bharata Maharaj's case and Gajendra's case. Even if we have an unfulfilled spiritual desire, Krishna will fulfill that spiritual desire in the next life. So many stories. You know that story of Mithila tailor? In Mithila there is a tailor. He stitched the wedding dress for Ram and Lakshman. And when Ram and Lakshman were wearing that wedding dress and came out, Mithila tailor became so ecstatic. My God, I got this great fortune of stitching their wedding dress. If only I had the opportunity to personally dress them and decorate them, I would be even more fortunate. He was thinking like that. He had that desire, simple desire, heartfelt desire. Then this tailor in Mithila took birth as a weaver in Mathura, and when Krishna and Balaram were touring Mathura city, then this weaver got the opportunity to personally dress them and decorate them with cloth ornaments all over his body. Surpanakha, she desired Lord Ramachandra, but she could not fulfill that desire. She ended up having no nose. Then she went to a place called Pushkara Tirtha. For thousands of years she was meditating on Lord Shiva. And Shiva came and said, "What do you want, Surpanakha?" "I want Ram as my husband." Not possible. But still, because you had a desire, in the next yuga, Krishna will fulfill your desire. And Krishna and Ram are not different. And that Surpanakha became Kubja. And Krishna blessed her, right? So Krishna will... Actually, our relationship with Krishna is not restricted to one lifetime. Please understand. We are so conditioned to think of this body or identify with this body. We think this birth is beginning and death is ending. No, not at all. We have a life. Just like some people will relocate. They are living in Melbourne sometimes, they will go to Brisbane sometimes, and they may go to India after some time, or they may relocate to America sometimes, like that. Within one lifetime, we have multiple homes and multiple designations and multiple identities, right? But similarly, the soul also, once like an animal, once like a devata, once like a human being, once like a bird, or once like a brahmana, once like a kshatriya. But the soul has an eternal relationship with Krishna. So this is not restricted to one lifetime. Whatever bhakti we do in this place, it's not lost. Like you are doing, for example, you are doing your 8th grade in Melbourne. So for some reason, for university, you may have to go to a different city or a different country. So whatever you have done here will come there. Within one lifetime, the material assets will help you, even if you relocate. But on the spiritual realm, whatever bhakti you do, that spiritual assets will help us even in the next life, even if we relocate to a different planet or a different universe or different species. Krishna will definitely help us. Okay? And that's our only hope. Asha Bandha. A devotee is always bound by hope on Krishna's mercy. Okay. Any materialistic hope will become hopeless. Ashahi paramam dukkham, nairashyam paramam sukham. Ashahi paramam dukkham means that material hopes are the cause of greatest distress. But spiritual hopes, that's the life and soul of spiritual life. Krishna is merciful upon us. Thank you very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.